You take your car in for regular maintenance, but when was the last time you gave your body that same attention? Midlife is a powerful chapter, but it comes with changes in hormone, heart health, and a lot more. In this episode, we're breaking down the key health checks, health screenings, and checkups that every woman in their midlife should be on top of. So if you're in midlife, this is the episode for you. Grab your coffee and let's get into it. Are you good about getting your checks?
Am I good about getting my checks? I'm pretty good. I'm on top of my health.
Yeah.
Are you good about getting your checks?
Yeah, I actually canceled an appointment I had today, speaking of which, because we didn't have the means to get there because of our trip was crazy. I need to reschedule it for when we come back. I have always been really, really bad about getting my checks, to be honest. I didn't get better until my mid to late 40s. Recently, 3 years ago. I've been on top of things, my mammograms, my cancer screenings I've been really on top of, but I haven't been. No. I always felt kind of like if you feel good, I don't want to go to the doctor. I go to the doctor when you're sick. And I'm a little bit of an avoidant. I like to avoid things.
Yeah.
Think that
that's most people. They don't go get their
so?
checks. They don't like going to the doctor. They don't want to hear the news. Of course.
Yeah.
They kind of already know. They kind of know.
My mom was an avoidant, let me tell you that. Well, before we get into it, though, you guys, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Share our show with your friends and family if you are enjoying it. We do appreciate you guys. I know I feel like we've gotten a lot of new listeners. I've been chatting it up with a lot of you in the comments. I really appreciate all the comments. So thank you so much for commenting and interacting with us. We read every comment ourselves. We reply to as many or most. I know I reply to most. Mike gets in there sometimes too. And we love it. So thank you guys so much for your support of the show. If you haven't left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd appreciate that. And scan the QR code up on the screen. Support our sponsors as well. All of the relevant links for how you can work with us, our other social medias can be found on that QR code.
Yes.
And yeah.
Everything under the sun.
Everything under the sun. So now let's get into it. I feel like we just recently got, and obviously we're going to keep it confidential because it was a confidential DM, but we just recently got a DM from someone who said, because we've been talking about getting checked and staying on top of your hormones and all of that, it led to them doing so with their family and uncovering a medical condition that would not have been discovered otherwise.
Yes.
So it was like a thank you for us talking about it, for us encouraging. And ironically, you just read me that DM and you didn't know what the topic of this episode was.
No.
So isn't that interesting?
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
It's kind of crazy. We literally just talked about it right before we came on the episode. But it just solidifies why it's important to talk about it. And just because you feel good right now doesn't mean there's not something going on. A lot of times, the things that, you go to the doctor for, it's because you're already pretty sick. If you only go to the doctor when you're sick, that's not good.
Not at all.
You want to catch things when you're not sick.
Beforehand.
Yeah, because then you catch them early.
Because if you catch them too late, you don't want to get that news either.
This is why it's so important to be proactive. Proactive is, key. Being proactive about your health and your screenings. I feel like with the technology of today, there should be better screenings.
Yeah, there should be. And there will be.
I think it should be commonplace that everyone gets like this. They walk, like you said, they walk through a machine. And
I feel like that's the future. Kind of like when we go to their airport security scan, you raise your arm and it goes, I think it's going to happen pretty soon for us. It's going to go, it's going to tell you everything.
I think so.
For sure. I see that within the next 5 years.
One thing that I have on the top of my list, because I personally have not had a full body skin check, I want to have a full body skin check. I want all my moles checked. I went in about a year ago to look at a couple of spots that I thought were questionable. And it turned out they were scars. I didn't know. I'm like, what is this? This is a weird mark I have. And she said it was a scar. So I had that checked, but I haven't had a full body. I have some moles on my back, I don't see them. I don't see if something's changing. And, you're not going to see, you can't tell if it's skin cancer. You need to have that checked. So I think that's something that's very important. Full body skin check, especially if you're fair skinned, because melanoma is very deadly. And by the time it's caught, a lot of times it's metastasized and spread to the brain, a lot of times the lungs. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, that it is.
Do you even have any moles?
I don't know if I do.
How are they going to do a skin check on you?
The thing about me, though, that we all have our genetics, what runs in our family history. We don't have cancer in our family. Like you guys have that in your family a lot, right?
Yeah, but I think melanoma has to do with like skin. It could be, there's probably genetics to the type of skin you have. Obviously, you're Latino. I don't know if it's as prominent. You have darker skin.
Yeah.
Definitely more fair if you're fair skin.
I go both ways. If I don't get sun like I've been getting lately, then I can get fair skin.
But it's
quick.
not you could get it too. So both
course.
my brother and my dad both had like skin cancer cells, like basal cell though. I think it. My dad on his eyebrow. I think Danny also was on his eyebrow, but my dad had skin cancer like cells on his eyebrow. He had to have removed. It was like it kept like scabbing, and
I know someone had it on their face right here. He had to get it removed right here, like on his cheek.
So you should get annual full body skin checks from a dermatologist. So that should be on your list of annual checks. You should monitor your own moles for changes. If something changes, then that is something that should not wait for your annual check. And especially if you've been someone that was like a heavy into sun tanning and sunbathing and everything, you should definitely monitor that and self-check. And if you have moles that like concern you or they're just prominent, take pictures of them, because sometimes they'll change and you won't realize they've changed because you're just getting used to the slight changes. So you need to look back. So you should probably have like some sort of documentation, and then you could show your doctor too. You can email the doctor and say, hey, look at this change. Is this to be concerned? Now with technology, you don't have to always go to the doctor. You can just email them. Number 2 on my list, colonoscopy. And don't wait until you're 50.
No.
I think that more and more people are getting diagnosed with colon cancer in their 30s and 40s. I think it's top 2 most diagnosed skin cancers, and it's rising in young people. And it goes undetected. It's basically no symptoms until it's pretty far advanced. My dad's was stage 4 before he knew.
Yeah.
Stage 4.
Yeah, be careful, especially if my brother had his done in his 30s, which is rare, like late 30s. I go, how the hell did you get it?
Because he had some issues.
He had some issues. Doctor was able to write him a thing for it. Because I was like, how did you get that approved?
He was having symptoms of other digestive symptoms, and so they had that.
Yep. And they did catch a couple of things. Nothing alarming, but he had a couple of, what do you call that again?
Polyps.
There you go. A couple polyps.
Yeah. So now they're saying the age should be more of like 45. And if you have family history of colon cancer, even younger. So push for your colonoscopy. It's a pain. Mine's coming up again because I had mine done and had precancerous polyps, which shocked me, to be honest. I was 46 years old, nowhere near the age of needing a colonoscopy, supposedly, right? Kaiser wanted to wait until I was 50. And then they found polyps, and they found precancerous polyps. They were, I don't know, they named them whatever. They were precancerous. So then because colonoscopies, once you have one, I think you can wait 10 years to have another one, because colon cancer is very slow growing. But because they found polyps in mine, they put me on the 3-year plan. So now, can you believe it's already time?
Crazy.
So I have to schedule it.
I think mine's is 5 or 6 years away. They didn't find nothing for me.
This guy didn't have a single freaking polyp.
I'm good. Clean as a whistle.
His colon was clean as a
whistle. My digestive
whistle.
tract is healthy AF.
And my dad, over the years, I remember I used to take him to his colonoscopies because he did get his, isn't it sad? He was someone who was on top of his colonoscopies.
I know.
And he did have polyps a few times. And then during COVID, it was time for him to get another colonoscopy. He hadn't had one in quite a while because his previous one was clean. And they denied him his colonoscopy because they said he was over 75. So they said they wouldn't approve him for a colonoscopy because after 75, since his previous one was clean, that they didn't give it to him. So that was during COVID, and that was what, 5 years ago in 2020. He was diagnosed with colon cancer in May of 2022. So he would have had a colonoscopy 2.5 years earlier. They would have caught that colon cancer in much earlier stage, and it wouldn't have spread, most likely. Isn't that crazy? Your screenings.
They should be held liable for that somehow. Mm-hmm. Because you could have prevented him. You could have prevented that thing from growing, getting worse.
And you know what's crazy is I looked back in his blood work, and his red blood cells were low. They were always kind of low, and so and iron was low. And they would give him, he needs to eat more red meat. He needs to supplement with iron. They didn't dig into that, and that was because he was bleeding slowly internally. Isn't that crazy? Like, it was so, like, there was documentation, like all the like things they could have caught. I'm like,
they never
my God.
do. That's what's that makes me angry about the medical. They always overlook things.
Yeah, until he was bleeding out. He was literally bleeding out.
It's always in front of their face, but they always like skip over the next page.
And then even when he was bleeding out, would you believe the nurse said she said it's like, it's probably hemorrhoids. So, we can have him come in tomorrow or, an urgent care, like next day appointment, or you can go to the ER, but chances are you're going to be waiting, quite a while. They're kind of like deterring me. And I'm like, I'll take him to the ER. He would have probably not survived the night because he would have bled out.
A nurse told you this?
An advice nurse on the line. Yeah. So it was up to me. It was my call to make.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I remember that day.
And I didn't want to, trust me. I had a margarita in. I was a little tipsy. I was already stressed out, and him and I were not getting along. It was very toxic and bad, and he was pissing me off. But I still was like, you know what? I just have a feeling I need to take him.
Yeah.
I'm going to take him. And then.
Lo and behold. So get your colonoscopy, you guys. Get your colonoscopy.
Mammograms and breast health. Yearly or every 2 years after 40. If you can get it yearly, if your insurance provides yearly, I would recommend yearly if you can. Mine doesn't let me get it only every 2 years. So I get it every 2 years. But also you could do self-checks. Check yourself. Always feel, know what you feel like. Know what's normal.
You feel some funky lumps and bumps. Like you better quickly get to the doctor. Like, what? I felt something, doc. What is this?
Yeah, like, what do they call it? You just like press it and touch it. I think I would feel something and know something.
Yeah. Remember, I had a funky, and this is a little bit different, but I had a little funky bump on my rib.
You did? Yeah.
Remember that? And they removed it.
And biopsied it, and it was a lipoma.
Yeah.
A lipoma is like fatty, fat accumulation.
Yeah.
But it could have been something.
Yeah, it could have been something.
Yeah. So mammograms for sure. But you know what they're saying now? Mammograms are kind of like a little obsolete. Especially if you have breast implants, you should actually get an ultrasound on your breasts. And I think there's clinics and more like places and medical places popping up, and they're offering those kinds of services that are a little more affordable if you're, if you want to be extra cautious and and you're paying out of pocket, but maybe they take like HSA, FSA, but you could get that done. I had my mammogram, I had never had a mammogram until after my mom died. I'm embarrassed to say. But like I've said, it was a wake-up call for me in a lot of ways. So I've had 2 now since she died. They've both been clean, but it's scary because there's a lot of cancer in my family.
I know. A lot of cancer in your family and high blood pressure in my family. Mm-hmm. Already lost a few family members to strokes.
Now, this one is a little less common. I'm always shocked at how many people don't get this done, but a hormone panel and a thyroid testing. Test your thyroid and your hormones, people.
Yeah.
In midlife, nobody should be in their 40s and not have had some sort of hormone or thyroid testing, in my opinion. 45, mandatory, in my opinion. There's so many things that it impacts about your health, and it's really important to have those baseline numbers and just to have a true picture of what's going on in your health. And that's why I love Transcend, because they go for the comprehensive, well, I got the comprehensive panel with them and I get that with them annually, and it tests the thyroid and all the hormones and all of that. And that was very important.
Yep. Very important. Who was it that went and got their thyroid checked? Where did I hear this story when they caught cancer? That they get it removed? I forgot who told me that.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
Yeah. I don't know who told me that story.
They didn't know. They had no idea.
No, they had no idea, and they caught that. So definitely.
My mom had a benign tumor on her thyroid. It was benign. It was years ago, like 15 years ago.
Damn.
That wasn't cancerous, but my mom had so many things going on now that I think back.
It's pretty amazing that she lived to the age that she lived.
I know. She was like a specimen for medical stuff.
Yeah.
Like so many different
Lady
things.
was tough.
That now that I have like so much more knowledge, my mom had high cortisol. She had flushed cheeks. Her cheeks were always flushed. And she had like this little bump that developed on her back, almost like a little hunchback. My
mother had that too.
That is an indicative of high cortisol.
My mother had that.
And that flushing of the face. Listen, I'm not a doctor. We're just chatting it up here. Candid conversations.
That's it.
So any of these things that we're telling you guys, just talk to your doctor and make sure that you've got a good schedule and stay on top of your checks, because if you do find something, you want to find it. You don't want it to find you.
No, that's true.
Right? Because look, my dad, he was being proactive. He was trying to find his, colon issues. And they turned him down. And so then the colon issues found him when he literally started hemorrhaging.
You want to catch it before it catches you.
Another very important thing is bone density scan, because the loss of estrogen causes bone loss, the drop in estrogen. And a lot of people wait until they're in their 50s to start doing DEXA scans for bone density. But people are going into menopause and losing estrogen earlier and earlier, much earlier than years ago, right?
Yeah.
So now those bone density scans need to be done earlier to prevent osteopenia, osteoporosis. That is directly connected to your longevity, is protecting your bone health. And that's why strength training is so important for women.
Exactly.
Specifically for women. Because that's what happens when your estrogen drops. It is, so like I went into menopause early, 46 years old. They don't even want you to do bone scans until you're in your 50s. Well, I would have been in menopause for 4 or 5 years before ever checking my bone density.
And that's weird, because women back in the day didn't go into menopause until their 50s most of the time.
My mom went into menopause in her late 50s.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of women.
So I think that there's
What's going on?
endocrine disruptors and a lot of like shit and like microplastics and all of that are impacting.
That's affecting you guys as far as that goes, and it's affecting our T levels bad.
Don't you think that listen, I could go crazy, but I always feel like Hollywood like projects things that are going to happen eventually. Like Handmaid's Tale, the Handmaid's Tale is about like the fertility levels are dropping. And so they're afraid that the population is going to like get wiped out because women are sterile in that show, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I feel like now more than ever, people are having fertility issues more than ever. And I do feel like I think that there's like data that supports that the population is like at risk, like it's dropping. Either fertility issues or the fact that people are having less kids, or a lot of people are choosing to go childless. Whereas back in the day, like all my aunts, they each had 4 to 5 kids. My dad had 4 kids. Now,
women were spitting out kids like it was nothing. Women will think about a kid and they're pregnant.
But
you know
not
what I'm saying?
now.
Yeah.
So it's like...
you ever heard that back in the day? Some people make fun of a certain woman because this woman is just, they call the baby factory. Be like, damn, homegirl got 5 kids. I go, don't stare at her too long. You might get her pregnant. She'll have a 6th kid.
It's like people don't get pregnant I feel like there's infertility is on the rise.
Both. Not just women, men, us too.
And that being said, off topic, but I also feel that they should implement fertility health for young women.
Yeah.
Screenings.
Yes.
So that they know what they're dealing with. Like I would like my daughter, like, hey, you know what? You should talk to your doctor about getting like a fertility checkup. Like, What's your ovarian reserve? Like, are you like, is everything look like on the up and up, or do you need to kind of get proactive with that kind of stuff and make sure that you are going to be ready to have kids when you're ready? Because if you wait until, not only do you wait until you actually want to have kids, but you actually then wait until you try and are not successful for 1 or 2 years, and then you find out you have a problem. Well, now you're in your 30s. You know? I think that they should implement that too as well. Cardiovascular screenings, obviously, for cholesterol, blood pressure, calcium score. That's new. I think that we used to hang our hats. That is new. We used to hang our hats on just cholesterol. Mm-hmm. But a calcium score to see if there's calcifications like in your arteries is just as important, if not more important than, or more indicative of what's really going on than actually just a cholesterol number. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women.
Really?
It's the leading cause. Huh? Leading cause of death. Heart disease. And what leads to heart disease? Poor diet. Obesity. Not exercising. All that stuff. A lot of it is within your control. But people will be willing to take the prescriptions and do all of that, but not do the things that are within your control while they're within your control. And on top of that, do the heart screenings. I can't assume just because I'm healthy and fit and thin and all the things that I'm, don't have some risk factors as well. Yes, I'm doing the things that are within my control, but I also need to get screenings. I also need to stay on top of my cholesterol and make sure I'm getting healthy fats and things like that so that I can further prevent heart disease, because it is the leading cause of death for women.
Interesting. I will tell you this one thing I did learn during my whole thing of my stroke, and they did all the tests, is 25% of the population, I don't know how much of that is women, have holes in their hearts, and they checked me for that.
Yeah, because it can lead to a stroke.
Because it could lead to like an abnormal heartbeat.
Yeah, but it could also lead to a stroke. Yes. Like a clot can escape the hole and give you a stroke. And that's why for people who have no indicators of any reason why they should have had a stroke but had one, they test for that. I remember when they did that for you.
And or a heart attack.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That too. Mm-hmm. And that's why some people are like, I don't know where this came from. It came out of nowhere. I was perfectly fine, healthy, and boom, just came out of. There's young kids who've been playing sports.
Yeah, and it's like they probably had that hole. And it can be repaired. Yeah. I wonder if they can screen for. Why shouldn't they screen? If there's that number is that high,
that is high.
They should screen everybody for that.
They should,
because that's high. Another important screening, obviously, is your Pap smear HPV test. Still necessary even in midlife. It's usually every 3 years unless you're high risk. I do that every 3 years, and then I also get a cervical cancer screening. That's what I had to cancel. I need to reschedule it.
Yeah.
I need to reschedule that because that's important. It's important. I had to do the cervical because in my regular Pap smear before, they had cervical cancer cells there. So now I have to have a screening specifically for cervical cancer, which is like an ultrasound. It's not just the regular Pap smear.
It's a lot of stuff you got to be on top of.
It's kind of exhausting.
It is. But this is what you got to do if you want to stick around for a long time.
It's kind of exhausting.
It is what it is.
This is something that people overlook, the next one, and don't talk about enough and don't prioritize it. And that is mental health and like emotional wellness checks. Your mental health impacts your physical health.
1,000%. I'm right here. I could tell you all about it because I went through it. Mm-hmm. Big time it does.
And so especially in midlife with like major transitions in life, the empty nest, aging parents, all of that identity shifts, mental health can really struggle. I don't know the statistic, but I'm assuming that like people who try to unalive themselves and things like that, a lot of it comes in this like phase of life, or people that have mental breakdowns and things. That's in midlife.
Yeah, it's always in midlife, especially for us men. Always in midlife.
Anxiety, depression, emotional dysregulation sneak in, so you can't ignore the signs. Very important. It's not just about physical health. I think now more and more, I think people are putting emphasis on mental health.
They are.
Things and struggles.
But I mean, I don't know how open women are to talk about it, because I feel like you guys are more inclined or open. But men, still, even though it's there, they don't want to feel like that guy. Like, I don't want to talk about it because people are going to judge me or think I'm weak or this and that. Or, you know, a lot of men don't want sympathy or empathy. They just don't want it. They're like, this is something I'm dealing with and I'm going to deal with it alone, like I did.
It's true. And I think...
they don't talk about it enough. We're trying to get more men. You know, I thought about starting a group on Facebook, get more men to just talk about it, bro. It's not, you're not weak. Nothing's wrong with you. No one's going to judge you. It happens, man. You know, we don't ask for it. It happens.
There's something that feels good about when you finally share with someone or whatever, and like you share it with someone who also feels that way, and like, oh, they get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of a good feeling.
I get it. 100%.
And that's why we share. That's why we share so much here.
I've been in that darkness, man, where I was drowning in it. I know what it feels like. And it's an ugly place to be. Hard place to come back from, too.
For sure. And so just like you guys need to get, you need to get in front of, what I like to say is control the controllables. You can control the screenings. Control the controllables. You can control that you get your screenings. You can control that you're on top of healthy lifestyle habits and prioritizing your health. There are so many things that are within your control so that you can prepare yourself to be optimal to battle things that happen to you that are not within your control. Because you could do all the things and you can still get blindsided with something. And if you're prepared for the battle, you have a much better chance at winning the battle.
Yeah.
Right?
So true.
So my homework for you guys is I want you to pick one screening that you've been putting off or that you didn't even really think of that you needed and commit to scheduling it this week. That's what I want you to do.
Take the plunge.
Very important. I also wanted to say that BBC 19 is underway, but the BBC 20, my Bold Balance and Confidence program waitlist is open. So if you want to get in on a great community, a great program to jumpstart your healthy lifestyle, then make sure you get on the list for my Bold Balance and Confident program. We'll put the QR code for that on the screen. Or if you're looking for something budget-friendly, easy and simple that you can follow that we've put together, the Thrive in 3 program is for you. It's budget-friendly. You have access to it for life, so there's no time limit on it. And it's within your control. And I guarantee you it's within your budget. So
100%.
I know, right? So scan the QR code if you're interested in that. You can get more details on it. I think I've made it for the busy ladies out there so that you can, you have no excuses. Keep it simple as possible.
That's it. No excuses.
And on next week, we're diving into relationships and how to improve communication in marriage during midlife. The kids are gone. Emotions are shifting, and suddenly it feels like you and your partner are living in 2 different worlds. We're talking about emotional dysregulation, reconnection, and tools to help you feel like a team again. So we'll see you on the next one.
See you.